Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Klein. Okay, so we're on day 3 of our 2-hour build, and that brings us to step 4, assemble the rail system. Okay, and I guess I should be over here. Yeah, so it's been revised. We're just looking at the revised part, and I pretty much got everything. The required components and tools look almost the same. As you can see, I set it up to look almost the same as the picture. So we just got the 2 rails, the 2 V rails, I guess, and cap head screws, 4mm Allen wrench, and our 2 foam packing blocks, right? And really, the only deviation, it says, where are we? We're on page 29. Yeah, the old X rail has been replaced by an upgraded X rail. And then it says, when installing the whale rail, note that there are several more pre-drilled holes, blah, blah, blah. Basically, what it's saying is there's a new Y rail, which we already knew. It's funny, it tells you it tells you that these holes go on top. Well, this thing only goes one direction, right? The only way these holes right here could be on the bottom is if it was on the right-hand side, and then you'd have them completely backwards. So anyway, I'm glad they put that note in there just in case. So let's see, what do we got here? We've got all our parts. So installing the rails. So we're going to pay close attention to the orientation of the 2 rails. Y will be installed left. Okay. Say, during this stage of assembly, it is helpful to have another set of hands. And man, they could have said that in the last one. I bet you I know why. It's these aluminum extruded parts right here and those threads. And I cleaned them up. Is there still? It still looks like there's something in there. I might take my air gun and blow them out before I try threading stuff in there. But yeah, these things are a little bit dicey for sure. So yeah, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the previous video, step 3, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I pulled all kinds of shards out of these threads. Looks like there's still a little bit left in that one. So anyway, I'll blow those out. And okay, what's the second pro tip? Test foot the Y1, Y2. I don't know why they don't call them left and right. Anyway, between the end plates. Okay, if the fit is too tight, then loosen the screws holding the MDF plates to the end plates to give you more room. And they basically are just saying that if you can't get these rails in between these 2 plates right here, right, the 2 plates, this one and that one down there, then just loosen all these little screws up along the edge and just tilt this guy back, right? But as you can see, it fits. I just laid it right down in there, so we're good. So no worries there. Okay, so step 1. Place the X rail with the attached carriages diagonally across the frame. All right. And I'm probably going to have to set the phone down to do this because I don't want to drop that thing, and they are right, it is kind of heavy. Let's see, what's the second step? Second step is slide the Y1 rail between the 4 V wheels of the Y1 carriage. The V rail side faces the inside of the controller mounted holes face the outside. Okay. And they want it to look like that. So I'm going to do these 2, or step 1 and step 1. Okay, well that was no problems at all. If you watch the previous videos, you know we opened up all the V rail wheels, whatever these little guys right here are called. And so yeah, it just slid right on there. And so the next step here is just doing the right side, or like the AKA the Y2 rail. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna do both of these. It says where are we? That's the next one. With the help of another person, very carefully lift, rotate, and lower the gantry so that our position between the front and rear end plates, basically make it look like that, right? Yeah, I get it. It is interesting they said lift it. Okay, so I'm going to change that step up a little bit for my situation since I'm working by myself. And before I get started, don't forget to pull the tape off the back of this thing that we had used to label the left and right sides. I almost covered it up, and then I remembered it. And I also put just a small piece of tape right here to hold this rail from just careening off the wheels and onto the floor. So what I did is I can't lift it up by myself, and I wouldn't even try it. So I very carefully just shifted it off the table, off the base, onto the workbench, right? As you can see, yeah, I don't have a lot of extra room, but I've got just enough to hold it. And so what my goal is I already know those rails are gonna fit in between the two end plates. So I just have to kind of line everything up and then very carefully lift up this right side right here and scooch it on there. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, I wish I could video this thing anyway. But yeah, I'll let you know how that works out. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and try to slide this thing on here and capture the video all at the same time. And I'll try not to mess this up and not drop the the phone or the router assembly and all the rails. So like I said earlier, I'm just going to try to. I've already lined up the front, the front piece right here. Maybe it's better to look. Yeah, so this is lined up. Got a piece of tape on it. This is lined up over here, and it's just sitting on the router MDF, the MDF board, and the side's already been lined up as well. I've got a piece of tape holding that. So now what I'm going to do, and we're going to have a documented. So now what I'm going to do is, with one hand, I'm going to pick this guy up while holding my cell phone and try to scooch this whole thing on there. So you ready? Here you go. Let's see. Is it on there where it's not going to fall off? Let's see. Yeah, I got a little bit of room over there. See, this side kind of went in. It's a little bit cockeyed. There we go. And yeah, so there you go. Huh? Two people, nothing. I did it one hand. Anyway, yeah, it's probably not recommended, and I probably scratched my MDF board a little bit. I noticed I got some scratches in it already from me messing around with it. But yeah, so if you're by yourself, it's definitely doable. Just make sure all these rails fit in between the end plates before you do it. And it popped right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off that's holding it from sliding around and get it all set up for our next step. Okay, so now we're going to the next step, which is securing the Y1 rail. And you can read this. It just says that each one has 4 mounting holes, and initially use only 2 screws, one front and one back, to attach the Y1 rail, and so it pivots. So yeah, I'm guessing they want us to pick this guy up, right? Pick this guy up right here and put a screw in it I guess it doesn't matter which one. And while that one's still sitting there, that's why it needs to pivot, right? I'm not going to attempt another camera shot at this. I think you guys can figure that out on your own. I'll be back when I get the 2 screws in. Okay, so just a quick update. I got the 2 screws in, and they went in pretty easy. I just want to make note that I did put a couple drops of WD-40 on each screw to help them go in better. And if you watched the previous video, I cleaned with a thread cleaning tool all the thread holes in these rails. So if you don't do that, there's little shards of aluminum in there. If you don't do that, you're going to be not digging it too much, or not liking it too much. Because if these fit the same way, these guys up here did, then you're gonna want them. But their little packing foam idea worked really well. So thumbs up on that. That's very nice, very handy, and good. Someone was thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the right. I'm just gonna move the packing foam from that side to this side, and yes, I did put it on front and back. And so now I'll just move it to front and back over here and put the screws in, and yeah, so that went in there very nicely, no problems at all. Yeah, and these foam pads, this like I said, thumbs up to the guy that came up with this, but yeah, you have to stand. These things are shorter that way than they are this way, and you have to stand them up, I guess, with the shiny side up or down, but not on the cut side. The cut side's too narrow to hold this, this bar high enough to get the screw in. And yeah, that's very nice. Okay, so the next step is we're going to complete our rail assembly by installing all the screws in there. And this is probably where it's going to get a little dicey, if it's like these right and left carriages, right? Because yeah, those are pretty dicey. So I'm hoping since all the threads are clean, we're going to use a couple drops WD-40, and I'm hoping they'll go together better. Okay, got all the screws bolted in, all the rails. I won't bother showing you the back. It looks pretty much the same as the front. And yeah, so I tightened these things up and then backed them off 1/4 to 1/2 inch like I was saying in the previous videos, and they all have a nice and square gap on them. Okay. So yeah, it was one thing the instructions said, is make sure that you tighten them up so everything was flush, right? Well, that's it for the rails. Yeah. Oh, by the way, getting those things in there. Yeah, if you're not cleaning those threads thoroughly, blowing them out, and using some kind of lubricant to put the screws in, you're not going to be happy. They're tight. They line up with the plates okay, but there's like hardly any tolerances in them. So any kind of offset, and it just goes in crooked. It's got all this this powder coating on it. Okay, so the last step is tension the X, Y, and Y2 carriage V wheels. Oh yeah, there's a note here. It's revised, and the only revision is, let's see, page 33 is a 10mm wrench instead of the. Use a 10mm wrench to tension the Z plus V wheels. Okay. I thought I used a 10mm wrench on all of them, but okay, anyway. Let's see, to turn the 2 eccentric nuts to the clockwise to engage with the V-rail. Let's see, yeah, so the top one is fixed. The bottom one has these eccentric nuts on it that we were playing with in the previous video. We had to open up. Yeah, so you can see that turning. That one's probably not too bad. Yeah, see this one, you can't hardly tell. You see it? Anyway, it spins freely. They just want us to turn that eccentric nut until it touches the top rail. You don't need much tension. The wheel should only be snug against the rail. Reach in or under and spin the wheel with your finger. If it rotates freely, keep tightening until you feel some friction against the V-rail. It should travel smoothly without any bumps. Excellent. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. I can't hardly hold the phone and tighten these up at the same time, but I'm just going to turn it clockwise and spin it with I'm going to turn it with my right hand, spin it with my left until I feel it snug up. I tighten mine up tight enough to where it can actually move the gantry if I spin the wheel. And so I would tighten it until it was slipping, and as soon as I could move the gantry with it, I left it at that. And you gotta love the action of these. Look at that, huh? The sealed bearings, that's beautiful, isn't it? So yeah, and it actually doesn't have too much wobble to it, surprisingly. For what it is, but okay, that looks pretty nice, doesn't it? And I do believe, yeah, that's it. So we're done with the XY rail assembly. Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button, that really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.